everyone. Welcome to the Let's Kick It channel, where we share soccer interviews, tips, and tricks. On this channel, we are connecting with soccer trailblazers from all around the world who are doing great things in their community. My name is Johanna, and I go by Coach Jo on the soccer field. In today's episode, we are connecting with Azeem, a B1 England footballer, founder of Learn with ESS, disability awareness advocate, and TEDx official speaker. We're so glad to have you here on the show, and we are excited to hear your story. Azeem, welcome to Let's Kick It.
Cheers, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So I wanted to start off by asking you about England. For someone who's never been there before, what are the top 3 places they must visit?
Oh, good question. I think first and foremost, especially for those who like sport, we have some pretty amazing sporting venues from Wembley to Old Trafford to the Lord's Cricket Ground, Twickenham, to so many unbelievable kind of sporting venues. So I think first things first is you got to get yourself down to a sporting venue, and I'd probably recommend Old Trafford or Wembley because big football fan over here, and there's nothing like the atmosphere at one of them. I think the second best place to visit, probably I'd say maybe good on the touristy route. We've got some big cities like London, Manchester, Birmingham. Even when you go up to kind of we're not too far from Scotland and Wales, so there's lots of big cities where you can get touristy stuff from kind of all the stuff in London to Manchester to Birmingham. So that would be my second one. Do a bit of touristy spotting, and secondly probably the food. Like we've got some unbelievable food, kind of from cuisines from all over the world, as well as kind of pubs down the road to Indians to Chinese takeaways and restaurants that are pretty big here. But they'd be my main 3 things to check out. But fourthly, I'll throw it out there, and this is probably one of my favorite places, or probably the Lake District here in the UK. We've got some pretty beautiful kind of national parks and lakes. Places like Windermere, Grasmere are unbelievable kind of spots for walks and kind of going away for a few days. So that's kind of staycations are very kind of common in the UK and have been more so over the last year or so with the pandemic, where people can't get away, so start to explore their own country and realize how beautiful their doorstep actually is.
Sounds beautiful. And then kind of going off of that, what are 3 foods they must try?
So I'll throw in there the classic fish and chips.
Yep.
Fish and chips from a local English chippy. Like there isn't a taste like it. It is something that I miss. Secondly, it's a tough question. I'm a bit of a foodie, so I do like a good burger. So we've got some pretty decent burger places in the UK if you get to get yourself to the right spot. And thirdly, I'm a fan of calamari. Like I'm a big fan of calamari. So
nice.
Locally to Manchester, where I'm based, there's some pretty nice Italian places. So calamari is the food for me. But it's they're not necessarily English and British, but I do like a variety of good foods.
No, that's good. I mean, it's so international, just like soccer, and just like expand your palate, like they say. So we'll go ahead and get started. And so Azeem, can you tell everyone what you do now and who you do it for?
So I am very, very fortunate and privileged and have the honor of representing my country, England, in blind football. So I get to kind of train, play, and travel around the world, playing and training football daily. I'm part of the England senior squad, so we train and play in European, World, and Paralympic Games, and that is kind of my international work. Domestically, I play for a team in England called Merseyside, which is based in kind of Liverpool, and nationally we play in that league. So blind football is my sport.
Nice. And then can you take us back in time and tell us when you first fell in love with the sport? I guess in England you say football.
Yeah, so Yeah, we're gonna get torn between football and soccer, but I'll call it football. You can call it soccer, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I myself was born with a visual impairment, so basically I struggled to see. So that was a condition I had at birth. So I can't see anything from my right eye, and only light perception from my left, so I can see kind of shapes, shadows, and objects. Kind of in terms of, but no details. So I can kind of see the light and dark, but that's it. And that's only from one side. So I was born with my condition, which meant I've had to adapt my life to be able to walk around, travel, go through education, play sport, work, all these little adaptations, which things people would take for granted. Things like just walking around and things like using technology. I've had to find little ways through the support of lots and lots of people to allow me to use them independently, and same likewise with sport. I went through a mainstream school, so being the only kind of person with a disability, I had to think of ways or we had to think of ways collectively to adapt sports where, okay, how can Azeem join in when he can't see? Okay, we're going to find a way. Can we put sound of the ball? Can we add some light to it? Can we kind of adapt it so that he's in a certain position where he can maybe not necessarily join in the main stuff, but can he join in the dry skills work? So lots and lots of different things, and obviously football was a challenge due to it being such a visually reliant game. And I only discovered there was a sport called blind football at the age of 15. And so someone said, okay, there's a sport here where the ball is a special ball which makes a sound, and you're playing on an even playing field with people who are similar to you. And that was something that I was unfamiliar with due to only being around kind of fully sighted people. So kind of we came across the sport, and then slowly started taking it up as a hobby, and then started to kind of go further and further, and started playing recreationally, found a club, and slowly but surely kind of went progressively playing through leagues, then got scouted through an England development program, and then kind of that required kind of going through kind of an England's setups in terms of camps and things like that, and then eventually got invited about just over 2 years now into the England senior team, and that's where I kind of started playing, and I was very, very fortunate to kind of train and play with the squad up at St George's Park, which is kind of where a lot of our the England teams, from the men's to the women's to all under kind of 23 teams play at, and that's where we trained and played. And a few months later, I was out in Japan and singing the national anthem, representing my country, and ever since then it's just been an unbelievable kind of roller coaster, and I'm very lucky to kind of slowly establish myself as part of one of the starting players, hopefully in the next few years, and training every day towards glory. So yeah, it's quite intense, but it's an unbelievable kind of honor.
So how was that to tell your parents that you made the national team? What was their reaction?
Well, they're kind of constantly proud of kind of the achievements, from little achievements to big achievements. So I always keep them in the loop. But I think it was almost kind of like they didn't really understand the magnitude of what was happening. Really, they knew that Azeem plays a bit of blind football, and that was kind of it. They didn't really kind of see how, especially now that they kind of, when they watch me on TV or they come into my summer to watch my games, about the magnitude of where I've actually kind of got to, but also how much that when they see me going out for training and then coming back, they don't see kind of all the hard yards that I put in on the pitch or in the gym, and then how slowly that then equivalates onto kind of in games. People don't see that side of things. They only see the games, whereas my parents and my family get to see, okay, I'm off now, or he's training in rough weathers, or kind of coaches picking me up, or battling through kind of little niggles and injuries. So they see that side of things, and then see that work pay off in the games, I guess.
That's awesome. To represent your country, that's like amazing. So I want to say soccer involves a lot of communication, teamwork, and can get very physical. Can you walk us kind of through the rules of playing in the visually impaired league?
Yeah, so blind football is a five-a-side sport played by 4 outfield players and 1 fully sighted goalkeeper. So the goalkeepers is fully sighted, so he can see everything. Whereas the outfield players, they have some form of visual impairment.
Mhm.
And to ensure that everybody's on like on an even playing field, what will happen is the players will wear kind of like a blindfold. So they wear a blindfold, and it's not your usual kind of blindfold. It's quite a robust style blindfold, which makes sure that no one can see anything at all. And under the blindfold, we'll wear special patches and gauze and tape to
Wow.
ensure that no one can see kind of anything at all. So you fully can't see anything. So you're solely reliant on your listening skills. We play on a specialist five-a-side pitch with boards going down the length of the pitch, which ensure that the players are know where the kind of the sides are, because
Mhm.
obviously they can't see the lines. So the pitch, the boards help to kind of showcase the size of the pitch. And one of our coaches will stand on the halfway line, and that's usually our manager. He'll give audible instructions. Our goalkeeper will stand behind us. He'll obviously be providing us a kind of a visual feedback as to kind of where things
Mhm.
are and that communication element. And then one of our coaches will stand behind the goal that we're shooting towards. Off his voice is how we'll know where the goal is, and we'll use his voice to figure out kind of in the final third where we're shooting, where we're dribbling, where we're going. So that's really a really big part of our game, having the coach who stands behind the goal that we're shooting towards being a guide. And then most importantly, the ball itself
Mhm.
will make a sound. So the ball, as you can hear, so it's got ball bearings in the panels, which kind of, when shaken, make a sound.
Uh-huh.
So it's slightly heavier than a normal football.
Okay.
So
Good
it's a
ask.
futsal ball,
Mhm.
because we can't hear it in the air. So when it's shaken on the floor, that's where we hear the sound. And we use that to help us to locate it. And apart from that, everything else is the same as normal futsal. We kind of play for kind of a certain amount of time with a stop clock.
Mhm.
And games are played from a grassroots level to international.
Wow. You watch soccer games, all the time, and you're like, oh, how could he miss that ball? But when I was watching, the games of visually impaired, I was like, wow, that is quite some talent to use all your senses and feel where the players are and be controlling the ball the way they are. I was like, wow, that takes some skills. So big ups to you guys. What is your favorite memory of yours as a soccer player?
People talk about kind of playing for England and that being an unbelievable kind of part of my life and something that I experience day to day. But I think my favorite memory from football was like getting a call to come and play football internationally for the first time.
Mhm.
Someone saying it kind of at club level said, would you come and play out in Germany? And it was just, I just remember the buzz that I got from that phone call. Someone saying to me they want me to play, and it was just like, oh, I'm gonna have to go abroad and play football. And it was just just an unbelievable kind of feeling to have someone want you to come and play for them, and inviting you across. So that's one of my favorite feelings, because bigger wider than football, kind of we link it to kind of the wider kind of things in terms of socially
Mhm.
and independence, and some of the experience that you get. It's that's for me, that's bigger. Like football is fantastic, but wider than that, kind of my coach is, not only developing me as a player, but
Mhm.
it's more so like as a person as well. So like, how am I becoming a better person? I'm learning how to kind of experience traveling. I'm learning to mix in with new cultures. I'm kind of becoming better with my kind of communication skills, my confidence, my social
Mhm.
kind of confidence around, I remember like the first day I got on a bus for the first time, and now we're getting on planes and we're playing football, and since then it's like almost catching flights every few months to go and play football in a variety of different countries, from Japan to Argentina to Europe. And it's just been a real kind of crazy roller coaster, but it's good because of I get to see and experience things that people would only dream of, and getting to play football and getting paid for it. It's
Mhm.
almost what people dream of.
Mhm. No, I mean, that's amazing. That was like into my next questions is like, what has soccer done for you? Been able to travel to different countries. And then I guess with all that, everyone's like noticing you representing your country. Do you get asked to like speak to the youth or give presentations?
So kind of my performance is on the field, kind of that training, that representation slowly
Mhm.
began to open up avenues off the pitch where kind of people were saying, okay, we know that you play football, and blind football isn't a very common sport here in the UK. So it's kind of people want to know about what it is, how it works.
Mhm.
Then wider than that, they want to know about kind of my story, and it also playing football on the pitch allowed me to kind of almost kind of, if you look at players like Marcus Rashford, and how kind of you look at him, he's a footballer on the pitch, but off it, there's certain things he's passionate about. So he wants to make sure that young people are fed, and he wants to make sure young people are literate so they can read. He wants to kind of work
Wow.
on kind of food banks, so professional football are using his platform to kind of influence and positively impact like social change. So I thought, that's what I had to kind of think to myself, what am I passionate about? So I was kind of like, so obviously living with a disability, I know not
Mhm.
necessarily the bad rep, but I know the kind of prejudice and kind of the lack of and the lack of kind of link, and the lack of collaboration between those with disabilities and without disabilities, and those in kind of the mainstream world, what they think about people with disabilities. So it's almost kind of their perception is very kind of, okay, disabled people can't really achieve anything. They've got their lives are kind of less kind of fruitful than those with those in the mainstream. That it's kind of a very kind of feel sorry mentality, and it's almost kind of at the same time as that is, it's almost kind of a, they don't really want to people talk about social changes within kind of the Black Lives Matter movements, with the
Mhm.
LGBTQ movements, but there's nothing for disability movements. And I thought, okay, this is something that I'm passionate about. So started to kind of make inroads in that field, where I started to do kind of corporate speaking, and speaking to local schools, where people
Mhm.
just invite me in. They were saying, can you come and tell our story? Um, could you come and talk about kind of what it means to live with a disability, then play football? Then wider than that, the TED Talk opportunity came up, which is unbelievable, and that then opened up a lot of avenues to work with brands. Like brands started to get in touch with me around kind of, okay, you've got a story to tell. We want to give you a platform to do so. So that was amazing to get to work with brands like Nike, which is kind of
Good
the main
stuff.
one I work with, and that's unbelievable to kind of work with so many of their projects over the last few years. And then wider than that, we get to link in with kind of some celebrities and famous players. Like, I've got to work with the likes of Steven Gerrard, Jadon Sancho, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jesse
Mhm.
Lingard, Ross Barkley. So famous footballers that you see on the screens, and I get to kind of rub shoulders with them and work on different projects. So it's very, very kind of fortunate. So wider than that, then all of a sudden, it was things that I was passionate about was slowly kind of becoming a real nice kind of blend between playing but also doing all this work outside of football. and
Mhm.
and yeah, it's a really privileged position, really.
Yeah, you don't really see it as work either. It's more like just opportunities,
Yeah.
to, like you said, with branding, with helping with the community. That's why I love doing this Let's Kick It channel, where you just share your stories, people are aware. And then, like I said, I listened to your TED Talk about 100 times. And every time I listen to it, I take away something different from it. But definitely what stands out is can't see-ness can often be mistaken as for can't do-ness. And I think that it takes a special kind of person, obviously, to be like a youth sports coach, because you are working with the youth, you are shaping them and building them to become better athletes and individuals. Can you share with us, I guess, what ESS is and why did you decide to start that?
So I think first thing first, it was going down the lines of that things around. Um, People talk about, everybody's at the end of the day, like people. If you look at the social concepts of life in general and
Mm.
society, but you at the end of the day, like people go through education, and then obviously they have to kind of earn money to be able to in the basic level to get food, to be able to feed themselves, and to be able to pay the bills, and to be able to live. Like, that's the basic level. You need to find a job where you earn money to then be able to feed yourself and pay the bills. But imagine kind of a lot of people get into caught up in the trap of um, working for the sake of getting paid. Like, they're not necessarily bothered about what they're doing, or they literally work in a job to get paid to then
Mhm.
do all them things I spoke about before. But all of a sudden it becomes a 9 to 5. It becomes people are just, working for the sake of working. They get up and they're like, okay, I've got to go to work. Someone said said this to me this week. If your time of relaxing and chilling out is and getting a breather in your 9 to 5 is going to the toilet for 5 minutes, and that's when you find, okay, you can just have a breather, then that's something's not right. Something's not right. If that's your 5 minutes where you can actually have a breather and have a minute to yourself, and that then something isn't right. But so people are just working for the sake of working to get paid, and a lot of my friends are in that rut now where it's like, okay, they go to work, they come back, they always just living for the weekend, and then Monday morning they go again. Whereas like I wanted to do something in my life where so blind football is still semi-professional, so we have to work alongside that to be able to earn a decent living. So we kind of we educate ourselves, we get jobs, and we play football on top of that. So I kind of needed to think of something where I wanted to, obviously I needed to work to pay the bills, but and to get food, but I wanted to do something that I enjoyed, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna kind of do something which I'm passionate about, and that's where all the things I spoke to you about, kind of around blind football and disability sports and changing the perceptions, all. But I'm gonna create my own kind of program. So I started to just trial out and pilot a program where it was using three kind of concepts. It was using education, sport, and speaking, so the ESS, to help to change people's perceptions on disability, but do it through teamwork. So through really practical and engaging kind of workshops, how can we kind of have a broader underlining of working on something within society that people aren't really aware of, such as disability, but it's not just a PowerPoint, it's not just a YouTube video, it's real practical lived experiences that hopefully people would treasure, because especially young people, especially children, they're in school. When they grow older, they don't really remember what we did in that maths lesson or what we did in that science lesson. Right. They remember the guests that came in, the experiences they had, the memories that they made. That's the thing they remember. So kind of thought, okay, so how can we create this? So we created Learn with ESS or the course of just before the pandemic and the course of the pandemic, and then we launched in March 2021. And it kind of it's all to do with how can we get people talking about disability and educating themselves on disability, but in a really fun way. So we go in and we deliver these workshops to those in educational institutions, from staff to students, from a school level to a university level. We go to sports clubs, from recreational to professional, and also corporate organizations. And we go in and we deliver kind of a workshop where they'll start in a classroom, and we'll discuss the topics such as Braille, sign language, autism, Alzheimer's, dementia, some sort of topic where it's kind of people aren't really aware of. So we'll do an interactive workshop around, okay, what does it mean to be blind, or what does it mean to be hearing impaired, and what is a hearing aid, or what is the purpose of Braille, and how did Braille start, and we'll teach them kind of some Braille or some sign language. We'll then go into the sports hall and we'll do a Paralympic sport where they physically step into the shoes of someone with a disability. So it might be vision impairment, hearing impairment, physical impairment. And then they'll do a Paralympic sport such as blind football, goalball, bocce, sit-down volleyball, wheelchair tennis, wheelchair rugby. So they'll actually get to experience that on a first-hand basis. They'll do it they'll learn the dry skills, then they'll play a game. But then after that, they'll also watch highlights of how the elite players play at the Paralympic level or at the international levels. So then they can almost think to themselves, wow, how hard did we find it to put a blindfold on and walk in a straight line, and these blind players or these players in wheelchairs are dribbling inside and outside of full teams. And then at the end of the day, we'll top it off with a motivational talk from a local role model who'll come in, and he'll speak to the young people or speak to the corporate or the sports team around their journey, and to really give the sense of leaving them with some sort of inspiration to end the day, and a Q&A. So hopefully that 3-part concept really hits hard and leaves a strong impact, but it's also fun, engaging. And yeah, that's the premise of it. And we've worked in lots of the football clubs in the UK, from kind of Blackburn Rovers to Rochdale to Oldham, Salford. So based in the northwest where we are,
Mhm.
we've worked in lots and lots of schools. We've done big business events, and we've just been going for 7-8 months now, and it's just been really busy and really exciting to see where we can kind of take these workshops. And we want to develop our programs, our staff, our athletes, and also geographically. So hopefully, one day we'll be out in America, which
Yeah.
I'm a big dreamer. So I'm optimistic that we can develop these programs out there. And yeah, it's just I'm just a small cog, and hopefully I can lots of small cogs can help this make this into something really big.
That is amazing, Azeem. I mean, even what the World Cup after Qatar, or for the Mexico, Canada, and US, you guys can before then obviously come out and do that. That would be awesome to experience one of those workshops. I'll put on here like the website, but what's the link that they can go and get more information, or phone number that you want to share, or social media?
So it's Learn with ESS,
Mhm.
or on kind of all social media, or www.learnwithess.com or .co.uk, and you can check that out, and some of our workshops, and kind of the kind of, even though we've not been going for long, I think the ones that I really enjoy are where we connect with people virtually because they're on the different side of the UK or the
Mhm.
different side of the world, and then we go in and then deliver in person, and later on. And that's the best thing, especially kind of hopefully as the coronavirus calms down, and kind of it opens up even more doors. And
Mhm.
speaking of the Qatar World Cup, we're in talks with them about how we can deliver as part of their World Cup next year, and it's just unbelievable, some of the opportunities. So hopefully they'll keep on coming.
Wow, I would just wish you best wishes for that. That's awesome. I want to get to the next one. So I heard that you're a marathon runner and Tough Mudder competitor. What else have you competed in or look forward to competing in?
So I've been very lucky to kind of, before football, I used to kind of think of ways that I can keep fit or keep active, and it was things
Mhm.
like doing endurance events like 10Ks or half marathons, and like you saw before about around the kind of Tough Mudder events, where it was things that would motivate me, but to kind of train, but also then there'll be an outcome at the end. But then also we can tie it to some form of charitable good cause. So for me, it was raising money and awareness for different kind of events and different charities or trusts, like the
Mhm.
hospitals that had supported young people, or lots and lots of different kind of good causes. And kind of that was that side of things. But I think now I try to, because my football is so busy, I don't really do as many events. But
Mhm.
I'm on a full program in terms of a strength and conditioning program, and we're in the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week, or training football. So it's quite full on. And when we go away for camps, we're away sometimes maybe like 6, 7 days a month, where we go away as a squad. So kind of don't really get as much time to do things like that. But I guess
Mhm.
I'm still socially, I try to give back, and that's the big thing for me. And I think Learn with the SS can kind of tick them boxes for me. I don't have to be out in the mud or out running crazy distances. I'm still hopefully inspiring people, but doing it in a bit more of a calmer way.
Yeah, I mean, I competed in a Tough Mudder, the full course, after having my son. I think he was like 1.5. Let me tell you, that thing is tough. Obviously, Tough Mudder, but it takes a lot because mentally you can train for months and stuff, but when you're actually there, having to climb all these things, sometimes you feel like giving up. You have to have like a good support system to help you get through it and keep just pushing along. I remember in your talk you were saying that you fell into like a water. Can you tell me about that? I know you said you
Yeah,
like
so
get out or something.
that for me was like the worst part of it all. And I was talking about now, I've probably still got some form of PTSD from that. But it was just like, so one of the obstacles was falling back into kind of from a 10-foot drop into
Uh-huh.
backwards into water. That And it was like you didn't know how deep the water was. You didn't know which way you'd be facing when you went into the water. Then you had to come back up, and then you had to kind of swim out of it. And it wasn't just your normal water, it was like ice. We're talking like ice cubes getting literally launched into the water. So it was like sub-zero water as well. And it was just one of the most scary things that I've definitely ever done. But I always think like it was good that to mentally challenge yourself to be able to get over things like that, because
Mhm.
you almost think to yourself, if you can get over some, and if you can take something like that off, then the smaller things become almost necessarily not really as bad.
Yeah, for sure. I think kind of that goes with like anything, like starting a business. You have no idea where to start. You just dive in and then just start to figure it out. You're like, oh, after you've been doing it for a year, it wasn't that bad, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
compared to that. And then who are some people who've inspired you in your soccer journey, whether it be professional or personal?
I think I always get inspired of people talk about role models, and people say, oh, the first person is Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi, and I'm like, for me it's definitely not, because them people, they were brought up in a different way. They've had the luxuries of being with professional clubs, and been in kind of professional programs, whereas someone like me, discovered football when I was a teenager, and whereas they were playing when they were 2, 3, 4 years old. So I can't really relate to kind of real pro footballers. I always
Mhm.
look at kind of role models in life in general, and kind of I look around and I think of, okay, this person, I always necessarily, I don't really have one specific role model, but it's more so little kind of tapping into how, when I meet someone, what is it that I can take away from them that I admire. So is it their outlook on life? So is it their confidence? Is it their empathy skills? Is it their kind of coming back from a certain kind of challenge? Is it their mindset? So that's what I'm also look towards. So that, someone said this, like it's almost like making a recipe where you're making a cake, or you're cooking something, where if you can take a little bit of sprinkle from this person's, okay, this person had good communication skills, or this person has a positive mindset, this person had a something around maybe their outlook on challenges and overcoming them. All of a sudden, if you can then implement all them little things into your world and
Mhm.
yourself, you're going to become a good person.
Nice. And then what are 3 tips that you can share with aspiring athletes?
So athletes in general, I think when I first came into a program, the first thing I remember was a saying, and that was, hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. And that for me was, I always remember that, like it was the
Mhm.
biggest thing that sticks out, because I genuinely don't believe I'm definitely not the most naturally gifted and naturally talented footballer or athlete. But one thing I do have is a strong mindset, and a strong kind of motive, like an open mind to wanted to learn, wanted to get better, wanted to be studious around the game, wanted to kind of become the best athlete I can possibly be, and that's not just training hard; it's training smart.
Mhm.
It's aim on the pitch. So I think that's the first thing. Secondly, I think it's about getting a good mechanism and a good support network of people around you, and those that understand you, those that understand when you might need pushing, when they might need to step off the gas with you, when they might need to kind of motivate you, when they might need to say to you, nope, that's enough for today, you need to go home and rest. So I think that's really important, that they can be honest with you as well about your game, about your play, about where you're at. I think that's really important, and I'm very lucky to feel like right now it's taken me 5, 6 years to get to that level, because it's not just given to you. You have to find ways, find the right people. It's got a point of place. And then thirdly, I'd say it's most importantly that you've got to enjoy it. Like if you're not enjoying training, then you're not going to be wanting to stand outside in -3, -4 degrees doing shuttle runs. It's you almost think to yourself, how have you ended up here? And you have to have a real strong love. As much as you want to become the best footballer or the best athlete you want to be, you've got to have some love for it. If you're doing it in sub-zero temperatures, or even the opposite around, in when it's roasting hot as well, when
Mhm.
you need to have a lot of love and a lot of passion for what you do.
Definitely agree with all of them, especially the last one. Have fun. That's what I tell my players when I'm coaching. It's just, I want you guys to just try one, and then 2, have fun. Enjoy the sport. Because once you get older, things start to like hurt that you didn't think could hurt before. But no, I'm just kidding. But awesome, Azeem. Thank you so much for sharing all that with us. I think it's great tips. I did want to end with rapid fire questions. So I'm just gonna ask you questions, whatever comes to mind, the first thought. just spit it out. So the first one is, when you're not working, how do you like to spend your time?
I currently am learning the piano.
What? Nice. Good stuff. Okay. What are the top two things on your bucket list?
Uh, Good question. I would say to, oh, good question. Probably to travel and visit the wonders of the world, and secondly, I think would be to, hmm, I'd like to see and experience a World Cup final.
Oof. It's coming up close. What is your favorite day of the week?
Mm, Wednesdays. I like Wednesdays because kind of the start of the week is like, oh, it's building up, building up, building up. And Wednesday's the peak. And once you get Wednesday, it's only downhill from there. So you know you're coming up to it. So I like Wednesdays because Wednesday you're halfway through the week. You know it's not going to get any harder. It's not so it's like, okay, you can start looking forward to the weekend now.
To relax a little bit. What is your favorite city in England besides the one that you live in?
Um, I I really enjoy London. I do enjoy London. Like people talk about the business, but it's just there's a certain vibe to it, and it's quite kind of full on, and people very very much doing their own thing, head down, doing their own thing. But it's also like there's a real buzz around it, and I do enjoy that buzz.
Then where's a place that you want to travel to?
I would love to travel to. I'd say Maldives. You see all the Instagram videos of people kind of in the Maldives and living it up, and I want to I'd love to experience that. I've not been to somewhere as exotic as that yet.
So you're more of a beach guy.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I'm developing into a beach. I used to be, oh yeah, let's go for a European break, or let's go. But now I think I'm learning to kind of switch off and what switching off really means. I do like the beach, but I like the sun, but not too much sun because I kind of like a nice 28, 27 degrees for me is perfect.
Nice. What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Oh, good question. I'd say mint. I do like a good mint choc chip ice cream.
Good stuff. What is your favorite number?
For some reason, first thing that came to my mind was seven. And I think that's based off around probably for around football. David Beckham, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Mhm.
Yeah, number seven.
What number do you play with?
I play with number four. So that's the four. And at first it was like, at first I was given the number eight. I didn't really like the number eight. So the only next available number was four. But we've got a player playing at the minute for England that wears the number four called Declan Rice.
Mhm.
And he's a West Ham player, and he's kind of a fan's favourite. So kind of I've come to warm more towards number four now, which is all right.
Good stuff. You learn to like it, right? The next
Yes.
one, do you like cake or pie?
Oh, cake. Yeah, cake. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I do like a nice jam and coconut cake.
Oh, I haven't tried that one. I got to try that one
That,
now. If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would be your guest of honor?
um, you know what? I think it's a good question because people always say, "I want three people," but one person. I probably would say, tough question, tough question. Um, I'd go for Nelson Mandela, because I was reading a book around him recently, and I was kind of thinking to myself about how much of an influence he had on people, and the impact he had on so
Mhm.
many people, and I think that thing around, if you can impact and influence people you've never even met, then you must be doing something right.
His story is amazing. Would you guys have fish and chips together?
Bring him to a local chippy in Rochdale. Yeah, that would definitely be something. Something not that I don't know if it'd be up for some fish chips Rochdale fish chips and curry.
And then would you climb a mountain or jump out of a plane if you had to
Oh,
choose?
so good question. I'd be climbing a mountain. I don't know why, but I just feel jumping out of a plane to do a skydive or whatever. It's just too risky. I'm just like, come on, I'm voluntarily doing that. It's just too risky. So I'd climb that mountain. I feel like I've got less chance of falling off.
Yeah, make sure that rope is on tight. But awesome. Thank you for, I think this is always fun, just like to get a, I don't know, more personal side of you. And then you want to share where people can follow you on social media, whether your personal or your business. Again, I'll just add it at the bottom as well. But if you want to share that, that way they know.
Yeah, it's Azeem underscore May 99 on Twitter, Instagram, just Azeem May. You'll find me, and learn with ESS. And if there's ever any way that I can kind of get in touch with some of your viewers or your listeners that want to kind of reach out or want to hear
Mhm.
more about what we do, I'm more than happy to kind of my channels of communication are always open, and any ways that I can help anyone, I'll try and do my best.
Yeah. So again, guys, thank you for tuning into the Let's Kick It channel where we share again soccer interviews, tips and tricks. And Azeem, it was awesome to have you and hear your story. And yeah, we look forward to watching you expand with ESS. And then best of luck to you on the team with England. Anything else that you wanted to share with people?
I think that's it. I think like you and me were speaking, Joe, earlier on about kind of the importance of doing something that you enjoy or do something that gives you time to step back from the craziness of life, and just giving yourself some time, because we get so caught up, don't we, in kind of family, friends, work, life, and now the pandemic and everything. It gets a bit stressful. So I think it's just advocating that time to give yourself 5-10 minutes every day that you're doing something that you enjoy, and or even just once or twice a week. And
Yeah.
you were speaking about the how you enjoy doing these little kind of episodes, and that's your thing. So I think if you can find that, it'll hopefully help you to get a better work-life balance.
No, definitely. Well, again, guys, thank you for tuning in and we'll see you on the next one.